Okay, so we continue with our discussion on the kinds of employees. The Labor Code provides that there are four kinds of employees, namely regular employees, project employees, seasonal employees, and casual employees. Okay? Now, the question is, who is a regular employee? A regular employee is an employee who's been engaged to perform tasks or activities which are necessary and desirable to the usual business or trade of the employer. That's the provision of Article 295. Now, in the case of Claret School of Quezon City versus Inday, dalawa ang uri ng regular employees. Those who are engaged to perform activities which are necessary and desirable, and casual employees who rendered at least 1 year of service. Okay? So in the case of the Tiangkin versus Lazada Express, employees who perform activities which are necessary and desirable are regular, project, or seasonal. Okay? Now, doon sa tatlo, yung project and seasonal, may walang forever. May hangganan. Oh, yun ang sabi ng Korte Suprema. Meanwhile, yung casual employees, mamaya, i-define natin. Nahin lang muna natin. Now, what about necessary and desirable? Well, it depends on the business of the employer. Kaya in the case of the Tiangkin versus Lazada Express, itong mga delivery riders are considered regular employees because the transaction of Lazada cannot be completed without the delivery riders performing their tasks. Okay? Hindi ka naman papayag na yung delivery nung binili mo online na sapatos, for example, i-deliver sa iyo online din. Hindi naman po pwede yan. Okay. So, consistent dito ang Korte Suprema in the definition of regular employees. Ano? Sabi ni Justice Lazaro Javier, the chairman of the 2025 bar exam, they are engaged to perform activities which are necessary and desirable unless the employment is one for a specific project or undertaking. O kaya ito ay seasonal. Ngayon, o kaya, those who have rendered at least 1 year of service, whether continuous or broken. So, consistent ang definition ng Korte Suprema ng regular employee. Now, according to Justice Lazaro Javier, there are two kinds of regular employees. Yung unang category, those who are engaged to perform activities which are necessary or desirable. Ano ito? Example niyan, yung mga private school teachers. Why? As I would normally tell my students, you would enroll in a school even if there's no security guard. But would you enroll in a school na walang teacher? Sabi nung isa, pwede ho, para mabilis matapos ang kurso ba? But that defeats the purpose for which the school is created. Ano? Okay. Now, pangalawa, those who have rendered at least 1 year of service, whether continuous or broken, for as long as the activity still exists. Yan yung second category. So, consistent ang Korte Suprema. And the reason why we are presenting this different jurisprudence is to show the consistency of the ruling of the court. At kayo rin maging consistent din sa sagot ninyo. Ngayon, there must be reasonable connection between the employer's business and the work being performed by the employee, as in the case of the Tiangkin versus Lazada Express. In that case, truck drivers are regular employees. Sabi ni Justice Lazaro Javier uli, no? So we are integrating jurisprudence. At mamaya pati yung mga frequently asked questions in the bar. Case of Upod versus Onon Trucking. Yung mga truck drivers, they are regular employees. Now, kailangan ng 1 year para ma-regular yung mga na-hire as casual. Yan ang sabi ng Korte Suprema, di ba? Kasi ang sabi ng Article 295, any employee who has rendered at least 1 year of service, whether continuous or broken, siya ay regular employee. For as long as the activity still exists. Pag nawala na yung activity na yan, pwede na siyang tanggalin. Now, sino itong mga ito? Ito yung mga casual employees. Hinire mo as casual. Sino nga bang casual? Pag-usapan natin mamaya. Hinire mo siya as casual, pero nagtagal siya 1 year or longer. Whether continuous or broken, siya ay magiging regular employee for as long as the activity still exists. Pag nawala na yung activity na yon, pwede mo na siyang tanggalin. regular siya eh. Oo, pero wala na yung activity. Di ba? For example, yung eskwelahan, nag-hire ng computer encoder. That's the usual example that I give. Kahit na dun sa mga YouTube lectures natin, yan ang mga examples natin. Kasi yung pinakamabilis intindihin eh. Yung eskwelahan nag-hire ng computer data encoder. The school, take note, can operate even without the services of the data encoder. But, nag-hire siya ng data encoder, casual. O, di in-encode na ang kanyang mga data, no? Para pagkukuha kayo ng transcript of records, diploma, hindi nahihilahin yung malhabang filing cabinet. Steel cabinet na maingay. So, in-encode na. Ang problema, after 1 year, tapos ng encoding, wala na siyang may encode pa. Okay? Assuming. So, pwede na siyang tanggalin, regular siya eh. Wala na yung activity niya eh. Pero si employer will be paying him or her separation pay. Bakit? Regular employee siya eh. Hindi siya pwedeng tanggalin without cause and without due process unless it is grounded on Article 298 na merong authorized cause. At siguro, pwede mong gamitin yung redundancy o kaya retrenchment to prevent losses. Hindi naman closure kasi hindi pa naman nag-close, hindi ba? Oh, okay. Now, only casual employees need that 1-year service for them to become regular. Okay? So, casual employees, ang ganda ng definition ng labor code, pati ng Korte Suprema, those who are not regular, not project, not seasonal, ano nga sila? Aba, malay ko. Buti na lang, ang sabi diyan, ang casual employee are engaged to perform a job or service which is merely incidental to the business of the employer. Okay? Now, an employee is regarded as casual if he or she was engaged to perform functions which are not necessary and desirable. Ba't pa siya na-hire? Hindi naman pala necessary and desirable. O, di ba? Kaya lang, pag naka 1 year siya, yung casual na yan, magiging regular yan. Okay? Okay, what about a project employee? Walang kinalaman yung picture, ha? A project employee is assigned to a project. Na nagsimula pa lang kayo, you know that there is commencement and there is ending. Walang forever yan. Ha? Na sabi natin, normally sa mga construction na business, sa construction, magtatayo ka ng building o mag-hire ka ng mga empleyado, project employees yan eh. Oh. It's material that it is written in your contract that your engagement is only for this project. And how do you do that? You indicate that into the contract. Okay? So consistent ang ruling ng Korte Suprema pagdating sa mga project employees na ito, no? Ayan. Now, there must be a written contract. Of course, you need the contract but it is not all what is required para magkaroon ka ng project engagement. But written contract is a must to show that the engagement of that employee is merely for that specific project or undertaking. Okay? Now, the project can be extended. Diba? In the case of Toyo Seat versus Velasco. Kasi for example, yung COVID, nagtayo ng building, na-lockdown ng 2020, umabot hanggang 2022 yung completion. Supposedly, ang project nila hanggang 2020 lang. But it can be extended. Diba? As agreed upon. Okay? So it can be extended. The date is not really that material. What is material is the completion of the project. Ngayon, pag natapos yung project, tapos na yung engagement. Unless, i-engage ka uli for another project. But take note, pag walang contract yan, ang mangyayari dyan, may problema tayo. Kasi may presumption na regular employee kasi continuous mo siyang nire-rehire. Therefore, it shows the regularity of the engagement. Remember Article 4 of the Labor Code, in case of doubt, the doubt must be resolved in favor of the worker. Okay? So there are two types of project. In the case of Paraheli versus GMA Network, ito yung particular job or undertaking na doon connected sa regular business ng employer. Like for example, in this case of GMA Network, ay project employees daw yung mga cameramen. Naku, sabi ng Korte Suprema, hindi. Regular employees yan. Meron ding mga project employees na hindi necessarily related doon sa business ng employer. Halimbawa, itong GMA, may Kapuso Foundation. Hindi naman nila trabaho talaga yan, di ba? Dahil ito nga ay television network. But since meron silang ganong project or undertaking, pwede sila mag-hire ng project employees doon. Oh. Okay? So, importante yung written contract. Ngayon, kung may kontrata kayo, the repeated rehiring of a project employee will not make him regular. Okay? Kasi may project nga eh. Nag-agree kayo. Ngayon, kung wala kayong kontrata, the presumption would be a regular employee siya. Kaya importante yung may contract kayo, written contract of project employment. Okay? Now, kung walang kontrata, pabor sa employee yan. Kaya kung kayo yung employer, it is a must that you provide a written contract. Okay? So yan. So consistent yan ha, na repeated rehiring of a project employee, basta malinaw, may kontrata kayo, hindi siya magiging regular. Okay. What about seasonal employees? Wala example nila dyan itong si Santa Claus at si Jose Marichan. Ay hindi naman siguro totoo yan. Ano? Na seasonal employees are those who perform services which are seasonal in nature. At ang sabi ng Korte Suprema, seasonal employment involves work or service that is seasonal in nature. Oo nga, di ba? Pero, tandaan, sabi ng Korte Suprema, no? Ang mga farm workers generally fall under the category or definition of seasonal employees. Bakit? Ay iba yung mga lumaki sa farm, ha? Ito yung farm workers talaga ito. Kasi pagdating ng planting season, sila yung mga empleyado. Pagdating ng harvest season, sila na naman. Hindi naman planting season yan for the rest of the year. So may gap. In the meantime, wala muna silang trabaho. And sad to say, the no work, no pay policy applies. Kaya hindi talaga yung mayaman yung mga farm workers, hindi ba? Ngayon, pwede ba mag-file ng illegal dismissal ang isang seasonal employee? Oo. Pag dumating yung planting season, hindi siyang in-engage, wala naman siyang kasalanan. Pwedeng illegal dismissal yan. Okay? Now, the nature of the relationship with the employer is such that during the off-season, walang trabaho, they're temporarily laid off. Pero pagdating na naman ng season, sila na naman ang i-engage. Tingnan nyo, may trabaho ba ngayon si Jose Marichan? Diba? Pagdating na September lang siya nagsisimula magkatrabaho eh. And the Supreme Court added one more. Ano yon? Fixed term employees. That's the fifth kind according to the Supreme Court. They are hired only for a definite period of time. For example, nung hindi pa na-discover ng mga malls at mga department stores, yung pagdaan doon sa agency, manpower agency as they are called today. Nag-hire sila in-house ng mga sales ladies, ng mga stockroom personnel, mga baggers, diba? Kasi dumadami yung nagsha-shopping. Ang kontrata niyan, September to December 31. Pagdating ng January 1, wala nang trabaho yan. So pupunta kayo kay arbiter. Ang tanong ni arbiter, ilang buwan ba yung kontrata mo? 4 months lang ho. Iyon ang problema natin. They did not become regular employees. Bakit? Hindi nga nila natapos yung probationary period. Di ba? So importante na maliwanag yung terms and conditions. Sabi ng Korte Suprema, we call that fixed term employment. Legal yan. Why? Ay nung hinire ka, sinabi naman sa iyo, 4 months lang talaga ito. Pumayag ka pa rin, may option ka naman. Well, to me, there is really no option. Ang option mo lang, may trabaho kang fixed term o wala kang trabaho. Ano mas gusto mo? Diba? That's the problem. Okay? Now, the repeated engagement of a fixed term contract, according to the Supreme Court, through Justice Lazaro Javier, is indicative of the necessity and desirability of the employee's work in the employer's business. And where the employee's contract has been continuously extended or renewed to the same position, with the same duties, and remained in the employee without any interruption, then magiging regular employee siya. Kasi ito, dun sa Maritime Training Center, trainer siya. Mayat maya, nire-renew yung kanyang fixed term contract. Ay sabi ng Korte Suprema, regular employee yan. Bakit? Walang interruption, tuloy-tuloy yung renewal ng kontrata. That's one way to circumvent the law. To the prejudice of the employee involved. Ayan. Now, professors and instructors in the different colleges, universities are not independent contractors. We are regular employees. Okay? O, kaya lang, siyempre, hindi na permanent ang marami. Bakit? Part-time eh. Usapan natin yan mamayang konti. Now, what about the probationary period? So maliwanag na sa atin yung mga uri ng empleyado. The problem with the labor code is that hindi siya gumagamit ng salitang permanent. Di ba? Permanent employee, walang ganun eh. Wala naman kasing forever eh. So ang ginagamit niya, regular. But there are two concepts of regular employee. Nasabi na natin kanina doon sa Article 295. So, itong empleyado na initially hinire niya as casual, pwede niyang ilagay sa probationary period na 6 months unless it is covered by an apprenticeship agreement stipulating a longer period. So, pero kung hindi naman, the general rule is 6 months. Okay? Pag pinagtrabaho mo yan beyond 6 months, magiging regular employee yan. So ibang kategorya na naman ito. Kaya gumugulo ang labor code eh. Diba? Sa dami ng kategorya ng empleyado. Tapos may mga nag-circumvent pa niyan. Bakit? Kasi una, i-hire siya as trainee. Narinig nyo na yan sa mga BPO. Diba? Trainee muna yan for 3 months or 6 months. Pagkatapos siya maipasa yung training niya, ilalagay siya sa period of probation. Another 6 months. That's circumvention of the law. Now, that may even be considered double probationary period. Kaya lang nailulusot kasi yung isa training daw. Ano ba yung probationary period? Di ba yun yung time na tinitingnan kung qualified ka? Natapos yung training daw, ilalagay uli sa probation. Pagka double probation yan, illegal yan. Kasi dapat doon sa first 6 months pa lamang, the employer has already made a determination whether or not the employee is qualified to continue. And you allowed him to work beyond 6 months, to the mind of the law, he becomes a regular employee already. Kaya lang, wala naman nagre-reklamo. Bakit? Mabuti na yung kaysa wala. That's the usual Filipino attitude ng mga workers, hindi ba? Kaysa mo lang ka ng trabaho, tiisin mo na lang. Now, a probationary employee who was illegally dismissed is entitled to reinstatement, payment of back wages, not only until the end of the probationary period, but until reinstatement. So yan yung dinanggit natin earlier in the discussion na CP Reyes Hospital versus Barbosa, hindi ba? Okay. So in the case reinstatement is no longer feasible, back wages shall be computed from the time of compensation until finality of judgment. Kasi kung hindi mo na siya gustong i-reinstate, magbabayad ka ba nung separation pay in lieu of reinstatement? Baka hindi. Kasi baka hindi naman umabot ng 1 taon yan eh. Kasi nga probationary employee pa lamang. Okay? Now, pag natapos yung period of probation, actually, hindi na nga kailangan ng notice, pero you have to notify. The completion of a contract or phase thereof, or by failure of an employee to meet the standards of employment, there must be sufficient written notice. Kailangan yung notice. Mali yung sinabing walang notice. There should be a written notice na tapos na yung period of probation and you did not qualify. But remember, yung criteria for evaluation must be known to the employee at the time he was engaged. You cannot change the rules in the middle of the game. Okay? Ayan. So what about the probationary period for private school teachers? In the case of University of Santo Tomas versus NLRC, that's 1990 pa yan, hindi yung labor code provision ang mag-a-apply. According to policy instruction number 11 by the Department of Labor, it's the Department of Education who should establish the standards. And the standards are now in Section 93 of the Manual of Regulation for Private Schools. That used to be Section 93. But under the new Manual of Regulation for Private Schools, yan ho ay Section 63. So it's not the labor code, but the Manual of Regulation that determines whether or not a faculty member in a private educational institution has attained permanent or regular status. You have that case of Palgan versus Holy Name University. That's in Tagbilaran, Bohol, no? Mga taga Bohol sa inyo. Okay. So under the 2010 Manual of Regulation, as I said, Section 63, para magkaroon ng permanent status, ay 3 consecutive years. According to the Supreme Court in one of the decisions, that's 3 consecutive school years. Okay? For elementary and secondary, kasama dyan yung senior high school. 6 consecutive semesters for semestral. 9 consecutive trimester for trimestral. That's the maximum. That's not the minimum. Okay? Kasi pwedeng ma-shorten yan. Now, hindi sapat na naka 3 years lang siya. The teacher must be full-time. And the teacher must have rendered 3 consecutive years. Yun nga, pinaliwanag natin kanina. And the service must be satisfactory. Hindi kailangan ng outstanding performance. Just a satisfactory performance, pwede na. Now, question is, who is a full-time teacher? A full-time teacher is one whose total working days devoted to the school. E gaano ba katagal yung total working day? According to Article 83 of your Labor Code, it's 8 hours a day. Okay? 6 days a week. Has no other regular remunerative employment, paid on a regular monthly basis regardless of the number of teaching hours, that in college teaching, it should be at least 18 hours per week. Yan ang full-time para magkaroon ka ng permanent status. Ang part-time, hindi nagkakaroon ng permanent status unless there is a policy by the school to that effect. Now, a teacher may also be appointed as a principal, a dean, or whatever, administrative position. But that teacher who's appointed as principal or dean does not acquire another security of tenure as principal or dean. Kaya niro-rotate kasi yan. Ang kanyang security of tenure as a teacher. Kasi yung being an administrator ay managerial yan normally. Okay? Ngayon, ganun din naman sa mga probationary teachers, kailangan may kontrata sila. Otherwise, hindi mo siya pwedeng tanggalin for the period of probation kasi may right to security of tenure yan. So kaya ginagawa dyan ng mga eskwelahan, every year or every school year or every semester, may kontrata until ma-reach nila matapos yung period of probation. Pag natapos yung period of probation, ikaw na magdesisyon. Irregular mo ba yan o hindi? Okay? Now, the employer enjoys management prerogative. Ito yung kapangyarihan ng employer to prescribe the work assignment, working methods, processes, regulation regarding transfer of employees, and even dismissal or recall of workers. Okay? But jurisprudence recognizes this management prerogative, but it's not absolute. That is subject to limitations. Okay? Based on the general principles of fair play and justice. Ayan. Now, the employer has the power to hire and to fire employees. But hiring an employee, the employer enjoys a wide latitude and discretion. But in firing an employee, the same discretion may not be enjoyed anymore. There are limitations in firing an employee. One limitation is that you cannot fire an employee in March every year. Why? That's the fire prevention month. Kung yung sasagot sa baryan. Okay? Now, management prerogative is not an unbridled and limitless. Okay? It is not beyond the court scrutiny. Management prerogative cannot justify the violation of law or the pursuit of any arbitrary or malicious motives. Now, kasama sa management prerogative yung pagtanggal sa trabaho ng empleyado. Diba? Kasi kapangyarihan niya, siya ang employer. But that must not be abused. Okay? So matagal ng desisyon ng Korte Suprema yan. Oo, management, may prerogative ka. Business mo yan, discretion mo yan. But do not violate the law. Do not trample upon the rights of the workers because management prerogative is not to be abused. Okay? When an employee commits an infraction or violates some rules and regulation, neglected his duties, the employer in the exercise of management prerogative may penalize the employee. Okay? Now, the employer, while the employee is under investigation, may put the employee on preventive suspension. Take note, preventive suspension is not a penalty. It is an act of self-defense on the part of the employer. Okay? The employer may be justified in preventively suspending an employee who is under investigation if the employee's continued presence in the workplace poses a serious threat or imminent threat to the life or property of the employer or of his co-workers. That's according to the implementing rules. Diba? Ngayon, kung hindi naman ganito ang sitwasyon, there's no point putting an employee on preventive suspension while investigation is ongoing. Now, how long should the preventive suspension be? According to the Supreme Court, as early as 1998, it should not exceed a maximum period of 30 days. After which period, the employee must be reinstated to his former position. Now, if the suspension is otherwise extended, pasusweldohin mo na siya. Kasi yung preventive suspension, no work, no pay yan. Oh. Now, what happens if after investigation and the employee was put on preventive suspension without pay, it was found out that the employee did not commit any violation? He's entitled to be reinstated to his former position plus payment of back pay. Hindi back wages ito. Hindi naman siya dinismiss pa. Bayaran mo yung 30 days, for example, na hindi mo siya pinasweldo. Diba? That's equity. Wala siyang kasalanan eh. But if the employee committed an infraction and after investigation, it was proven that he was really in violation of some rules or law, then you can suspend him. At ito na ngayon yung punitive suspension, depending on the rules of the company, or dismiss the employee. Okay? Now, if dismissal is too harsh a penalty, you can put him on punitive suspension. Okay? So, without pay na talaga. May kasalanan na siya eh. Diba? Iba pa ba ito dun sa preventive suspension? Yes. Kasi yung preventive suspension, kailangan i-justify mo yon. Ngayon, napatunayan mo na may kasalanan pala siya. May violation. Then, you can impose a penalty. At the worst form of penalty is dismissal from service. Now, in 2017 bar exam, it was asked, what are the grounds for validly terminating the services of an employee? Take note, you do not terminate the employee, ha? If you terminate the employee, that's a murder. Walang jurisdiction si arbiter dyan. You terminate the services of an employee based on a just cause. So yan, referring to Article 297. Doon sa iba sa inyo, na medyo familiar pa doon sa lumang labor code, yan ay Article 282. Okay? Okay. So, let's proceed. Now, Article 297, ito yung just causes as they call it. Because the employees committed some serious misconduct, some infraction, or neglected the duty. So, what are these? Serious misconduct or willful disobedience. Okay? So, ngayon, serious misconduct is defined as improper or wrong conduct. A transgression of some established and definite rule of action, a forbidden act, not just an oversight or error of judgment. That's the case of San Sebastian College Moreno versus San Sebastian College Recoletos. Then in the case of Adamson University Faculty Union, yun din ang definition ng Korte Suprema. So consistent yan. Ano? Hindi naman nagbabago na ang misconduct must be serious. Now, pag ang misconduct must be serious, and it must be in connection with the work of the employee. Now, itong sa kasong ito ng Adamson University Faculty Union, yung teacher, minumura yung mga estudyante. Walang kinalaman yung picture, ha? Although nami-miss natin sa Presidente Duterte kasi ngayon lahat nagmamahalan, ha? Nung panahon niya, may nagmumura kahit isa. Ngayon, nagmumura si teacher. Ay, according to the court, that is serious misconduct. That's a ground for dismissal. Okay? Now, sexual harassment is another serious misconduct. You have that case of Villarama versus NLRC. Noong time na yun, wala pang anti-sexual harassment law. 1995 yung anti-sexual harassment law. Diba? Republic Act 7877. But according to the court, a good example of serious misconduct is sexual harassment. Okay? Now, but when a teacher marries a student, it's a serious misconduct. But take note, at that time, wala pang anti-child abuse law. Wala pang Republic Act 7610. Kasi kung alam niyo ang storyang ito, yung teacher dito ay 30 years old. Yung estudyante niya 16. Ay family code, wala pang family code at that time. That was 1979. Pinakasalan yung estudyante. Abay tinanggal ng eskwelahan dahil ito daw ay serious misconduct. Pero sabi ng Korte Suprema, if the two eventually fell in love despite the disparity in their ages and academic levels, this only lends substance to the truism that the heart has reasons of its own, which reason does not know. Okay? Aliwanag tayo, ha? But definitely yielding to this gentle and universal emotion is not to be so casually equated with immorality. But noon yun, na wala pang anti-child abuse law. Ngayon, let's move on to gross and habitual neglect. Ito po, sabi ni Justice Lazaro Javier, in that case of Stilwell versus Ichano, to warrant removal from employment on the ground of negligence, the negligence must not only be gross, but habitual. Okay? So gravity and habituality, those are the two elements that you have to look for. Now, gross negligence implies, as early as 2000, a want or absence or of failure to exercise like care or diligence, or the entire absence of care. Of course, you know the concept of negligence, di ba? Now, it evinces a thoughtless disregard of the consequences. Ngayon, dalawa ang requirements, ha? The negligence must not only be gross, it must be habitual. But take a look at the case of LBC versus Mateo. Ito, si James Mateo has been employed by LBC for about 5 years, I think. May memorandum at policy itong LBC na yung kanilang mga delivery riders, mga drivers, when they leave their vehicles, they park it somewhere else, they have to lock the vehicle para maiwasan yung carnapping. Itong problema ni James, nag-remit siya ng kanyang koleksyon dun sa Binondo branch, iniwanan yung motor, pagbalik niya wala na. Yung pala nakalimutan niyang ilock. So, after due process, he was dismissed for gross negligence of duty in violation of the company policy. Pero syempre, kinwestiyon ito ni James at ang sabi niya, 5 years ako na empleyado dito. Isang motor pa lang ang naiwala ko. O nga naman, nasaan doon yung habituality? But the court did not agree with him. Antayin pa natin na makapagwala ka ng isa pang motor bago katanggalin. So, the law protecting the rights of the employee authorizes neither the oppression nor self-destruction of the employer. Diba? So, if the negligence is so gross, that's the lesson of this case. Prejudicial to the employer despite that it happened just once. Oh, well, habituality can be dispensed with. Pwedeng tanggalin ng employee because of gross negligence. But this is the exception. The general rule is, until that decision written by Justice Lazaro Javier, the negligence must not only be gross, it must be habitual. Okay? And then you have fraud or willful breach by the employee of the trust reposed in him by his employer or duly authorized representative. Okay. Now, dati-rati managerial employees lang ang tinatanggal based on lack of trust and confidence, no? But right now, as early as 2021, according to the Supreme Court, even rank and file employees can be dismissed based on the ground of loss of trust and confidence. But, may kategorya, fiduciary rank and file employees. Okay? There are two classes of position of trust. Yung first class daw, ito yung mga managerial employees. Natural, you would not hire somebody to become your manager kung wala kang tiwala sa kanya. Of course, you know the definition of managerial employees, di ba? They have the power to hire and to fire employees. Okay? Yan yung first class. The second class ay ito yung mga cashier. Dapat ba dalawa sila para may cashier? Pag mag-isa lang, wala siyang cashier. Cashier, okay, share. Ano ba? How do you pronounce it? And then auditors, property custodian. O pati yung mga kolektor, bakit? In the normal exercise of their functions, they regularly handle significant amounts of money or property of the employer. So kailangan dito ng trust and confidence. Diba? So pag nawala yung trust na yan, pwede mo siyang tanggalin based on breach of trust and confidence. Okay? Yan yung mga fiduciary rank and file employees. So consistent ang Korte Suprema dyan. Ha? Okay. Now, for loss of trust and confidence to be valid as a cause for dismissal, it must be willful and founded on clearly established facts. Bakit? Kasi ito ay madaling abusuhin ito eh. But willful, it is meant that the action was voluntary and intentional. Hindi po pwedeng presumption mo lang. Now, we are mindful of the fact, sabi ni Justice Lazaro Javier, speaking on behalf of the Supreme Court, that loss of confidence as a ground for dismissal is prone to abuse. Talaga na-abuso yan eh. At sino ba magsasabi dun sa tao na wala na akong tiwala sa'yo? Oh, di ba? Sometimes trust is more important than love. Oh, how can you love the person if you do not even trust the person? Kaya sa panahon ngayon, parang wala na yata ang tapat. Tanghali na lang ang tapat. At saka yung mga jowa nyo parang Bluetooth device lang, di ba? Pagkasama mo, connected. Pag tumalikod ka, searching for other devices na. At kumukonek sa lahat ng Wi-Fi. Naku, delikado tayo dyan. It is necessary that the loss of confidence must be founded on clearly established facts to warrant the employee separation from work. Kasi ang nakataya dito, yung kanyang livelihood. Dito sa kasong ito ay cashier tapos nagwa-waiter din from time to time. Pagka nagtatali na siya ng kanyang collection, minsan may kulang, tinatamper niya yung resibo. Pagka sumobra naman yung collection, itinatago niya, hindi niya sinusurrender dun sa hotel. Sabi ni Justice Lazaro Javier, may ground, so dapat nga tanggalin at legal yung pagtanggal. Okay? So hindi naman totoo na palaging pinapabura ng korte at ng mga labor tribunals ang employee. Ang sinasabi ko palagi dyan, huwag kasi ninyong bigyan ng doubt. Because the moment there is doubt, the arbiter and the NLRC would resolve in favor of the employee. Okay? Ayan. So, the matter of determining whether the cause for dismissal of an employee is justified on the ground of loss of trust and confidence, ay hindi po pwedeng maiwanan ito entirely to the employer. Kasi baka abusuhin. So, kailangan natin dito ng substantial evidence. Okay? Yan. For loss of trust and confidence to be valid, it must be substantial. Substantial evidence ang kailangan natin. Yan bang mga picture na yan, may breach of trust? You tell me. Bakit nga ba? Yan ang nauuso ngayon, hindi ba? You tell me. Okay. And then, commission of a crime or offense by the employee against the person of his employer. Hindi lamang si employer, pati yung members ng kanyang family or his duly authorized representatives. Take note, there is no requirement for conviction. Mere commission of a crime is a ground for dismissal. May client tayo na minsan, yung mga factory ito minsan yung mga empleyado nag-uuwi ng yung mga tools na gustuhan siguro. Yung iba naman ang reason, nakalimutan na isiksik pala sa bulsa, nakalimutan daw. Di tinatanggal. Based on commission of a crime. Theft yan ngayon, kinasuhan sa piskal. Na-dismiss yung kaso. Kaya inacquit ng korte. Would that be enough para ma-reinstate yung empleyado? Sabi ng Korte Suprema in 2021, yung acquittal of the employee from criminal prosecution for a crime committed against the interest of the employer did not automatically eliminate the loss of confidence. Kasi ginawang ka na ng crime, magtitiwala ka pa ba? Di ba? Kaso sa politika, pinagnakawang ka na, binoboto mo pa . Diba? Pambihira naman. Isip-isip din, Okay. And then, other causes analogous to the foregoing. Ano ba yung mga causes analogous to the foregoing? Abandonment. Abandonment is analogous to gross and habitual neglect. Sabi ni Justice Lazaro Javier, abandonment as a just ground for dismissal requires deliberate unjustified refusal of the employee to perform his employment responsibilities. Abandonment is justified deliberate refusal, unjustified, deliberate and unjustified refusal to resume employment. Therefore, it is a form of neglect of duty. Kasi wala namang abandonment sa Article 297. But that is in paragraph E, letter E. Ang nakalagay doon, other causes analogous to the foregoing. Abandonment is analogous to gross and habitual neglect. Okay? Now, so consistent ang Korte Suprema dyan kung ano ang abandonment. It is a form of neglect. Therefore, pagka inabandona ng employee, yung kanyang employer, si employer dapat padalhan ito ng return to work order. O hindi ka na nagre-report, bumalik ka. Ngayon, the employer's excuse that it was the employee who wrongfully presumed that he was dismissed. Hindi ako pinadala ng return to work order kaya hindi na ako bumalik. Hindi tama yon. It is the duty of the employer to send a return to work order. Kasi baka nakalimutan ng employee na may trabaho pala siya. Diba? I-remind mo, may trabaho ka dito, bumalik ka na. O hindi bumalik, padala mo ng notice of termination. The mere absence of employee is not enough para masabi na inabandona niya yung kanyang trabaho. Okay? Remember, in legally dismissing an employee, the employer has the burden of proving, diba, that there was cause and that he observed due process. I already discussed that earlier in our discussion. Okay? Now, what are the elements of abandonment? Sabi ni Justice Lazaro Javier, dalawa yan. Una, the failure to report for work or absence without any valid or justifiable reason. Ito yung tinatawag na AWOL, absence without leave. Pero yata ngayon yung AWOL na yan, parang adults without love life. Okay, mag-alala. Pag naging lawyer naman kayo, marami naman kayong karelasyon. Di ba apat yun? Fourfold relationship. The lawyer and the court, the lawyer and the board, the lawyer and the public, and the lawyer and the client. At kung wala nagmamahal sa inyo, magpunta kayo sa gasolinahan sa Marte. Sigurado ako may magmamahal dyan. Baka di nyo lang magustuhan yung pagmamahal. Okay. So, pangalawa, clear intention to sever. Sever means to cut off the employer-employee relationship. And according to Justice Lazaro Javier, in that case of Miñano versus Santo Tomas General Hospital, it is the more determinative factor and manifested by some overt acts. Okay? Yung jowa mo, hindi nagpapakita sa inyo isang buwan. Pagpunta mo sa mall, nakita mo, may ibang kahawak kamay. That's the more determinative factor. Na talagang ayaw niya na. So, yung mga factors na yan, consistent ang Korte Suprema dyan. Kaya we need not discuss this. Pinapakita ko lang sa inyo na ang jurisprudence consistent. Okay? At nagsimula ito dun sa Agabon versus NLRC in recent memory 2004. So, consistent yan until 2024. The failure to report for work and without justifiable reason, by a valid reason, and clear intention to sever or to cut off the employer-employee relationship. Hindi na pumapasok sa'yo. Nalaman mo, nagtatrabaho na sa iba. Talagang ayaw niya na. Diba? Okay. But mere absence is not to be considered abandonment. Hindi lang pumasok. Diba? It's not immediately equivalent to abandonment. Mere failure to report for work is insufficient to support a charge of abandonment. Why? The employer must present proof na talagang ayaw niya na. Okay? So in 2017 bar exam, ito palaging itinatanong yan. Give the procedure to be observed for validly terminating the services of an employee based on a just cause. Itanim sa ating mga isip na pag just cause, we are talking of Article 297. The employee is at fault. Ika nga ni employer, it's you, not me. Provided the ground for the dismissal. Okay? So ano ang procedure natin? Tinanong din ito ng 2016, kaya napakahaba. Pagka ganyang kahaba ang mga tanong, ang basahin nyo kaagad yung question. Kasi pag binasa nyo yung facts, pagpunta nyo sa question, babalik na naman kayo sa facts. So you're wasting your time. Pag nakita kayo ng ganyang kahabang mga tanong, you immediately proceed to the question. Okay? Pag nabasa nyo yung tanong, saka nyo basahin yung facts, at least alam mo na kung ano yung nahanap mo. Mahirap hanapin ng isang bagay kung di mo alam kung ano yung hinahanap mo. So dapat yan, alam mo yung hinahanap mo. Okay. So what are the requisites for validly dismissing an employee? There are two requisites. Una, merong kang cause. So tinatanong dito, Article 297. And the employer must observe due process. Okay? Now, yan ang sinasabi ng ating implementing rules ng Labor Code. Two written notices to comply with due process requirement. Okay? So, two written notices. Bakit written notices? 1974 pa po ang Labor Code. So, yan ay original provision na wala pa namang internet no, so walang email. Kaya written notices yan. Okay? So, twin notice requirement. Consistent ang Korte Suprema dyan. Now, if you fail to give these two notices, the dismissal might be illegal. Okay? Pero later on, i-distinguish natin yung illegal at ineffectual. Ngayon, what should the first notice contain? The first notice should apprise the employee of the particular acts or omission for which his dismissal is sought. Anong dahilan para i-dismiss mo siya? Okay? That should be in the first notice. So normally, ang nakalagay dyan, notice to explain. Please explain in thesis writing within 24 hours, kaya within 48 hours, why no sanction should be imposed against you. There must be a directive to explain. Bakit hindi siya paparusahan? And give him the opportunity to be heard. Yung opportunity to be heard, yung pagpapaliwanag niya. Kaya lang yung kanina, within 48 hours is not enough. Diba? So sabi ng Korte Suprema, Distribution and Control Products versus Santos, 2017, it should be at least 5 calendar days from receipt of the notice. Binigyan mo siya ng notice ngayon, give him 5 calendar days para makapagpaliwanag siya. Okay? Now, the second notice must contain the decision to dismiss the employee. So for example, binigyan mo siya ng 5 days to explain, nag-submit siya ng written explanation on the 5th day, would you immediately give the second notice? The answer is no. Although there is no law or jurisprudence telling us when to give the second notice, it must be reasonable time. Para naman ipakita na binasa mo man lang yung kanyang paliwanag. Sabagay, wala naman talagang paliwanag na sasapat kung gusto kang tanggalin. Diba? No explanation would be enough. Kaya nga naisip ko lang dyan, di ka naman talaga magiging sapat sa isang taong ibang hinahanap. O kung gusto kang tanggalin, tatanggalin ka. Kaya lang, make it a point to give sufficient number of days bago mo ibigay yung second notice to make it appear na binasa mo at kinakinggan mo yung paliwanag niya. Otherwise, sayang. Diba? At mabubutasan ka dyan. So, the second notice must contain a notice to sever, meaning to cut off. Yung severe kasi lalagyan nyo ng E, yung ibig sabihin niya malala. Pero pag tinanggal mo yung E, just to cut off. Okay? So yan. So two written notices. Now, kailangan ng hearing kasi notice and hearing to comply with due process. The requirement of a hearing is complied with as long as there was an opportunity to be heard at hindi kailangan ng actual trial type hearing. So, consistent ang Korte Suprema dyan, ha? At ito si Amber Heard na nakinig at si Johnny Depp na bingi. Kaya nag-away, di nagkasundo. Ayan. In the case of Bravo versus Urios College, baka meron sa inyong taga dyan sa itong Urios College na ito sa Butuan ba yan? Ay, hindi yata. Basta banda yan dyan sa Agusan. Okay? A hearing is not a condition sine qua non. Ibig sabihin, hindi talaga kailangan because hearing is not verbal argumentation alone. To be heard does not mean you have to argue verbally. Diba? O kaya nga sabi ng iba, you say it best when you say nothing at all. O ganyan pagkagalit yung mga misis, you just do not say anything. Pag may sinabi ka, lagot ka. O, hindi natin kailangan ng trial type hearing. Okay? Ample opportunity to be heard means you gave him the time to explain. But remember that under Article 292B of the Labor Code, the burden is on the employer. Ano ang dapat niyang patunayan? that there was just cause and he observed due process. Nasa 297 tayo, kaya just cause pa lang tayo. Mamaya na yung authorized cause. Okay? And that is a consistent ruling of the Supreme Court that the employer must show proof that there was just or authorized cause and he observed due process. Wala kinalaman yung picture. Okay? Ayan. So, consistent, ha? Na ang burden of proof ay sa employer. Okay. Now, the rule is well established that in termination cases, the burden of proving just and valid cause for dismissing an employee rests on the employer. So, it can never be overemphasized. The burden to prove must be on the employer. However, sabi naman ng Korte Suprema ng 2015, well, while technical rules are not strictly followed at the NLRC, this does not mean that the rules on proving allegation are entirely dispensed with. Bare allegations is not enough. Ika nga nung dating presidente, pagka meron kayong allegations, you have to present an alligator. Joke lang. Okay? But when the employees air their grievances in a public forum, ito yung tinatawag nilang highest court of the land. Ano ba yung highest court of the land? RTC. RTC. Rapid Tulfo Court. Ganun ba yun? Siniraan yung employer. Ang ginawa nung employer, tinanggal sila. Sabi ng Korte Suprema, wag. Invalid yung dismissal dyan. Okay? Ngayon, kung sa tingin mo may libel, di kasuhan mo sila ng libel. But do not dismiss them outright because they went to the media. Now, tanong ng 2018 bar exam, yung separation pay. Pagkahaba-haba nito, no? Yung procedural due process na rin. Ngayon, puntahan natin. Yung sa Article 297, wala kasing separation pay yun. Diba? Sabi natin nung kanina, when the employee is dismissed legally, it is improper for the arbiter to award financial assistance. So walang separation pay, walang financial assistance. Why? Crime does not pay. Gumawa siya ng kalokohan. But under Article 298, this is known as the authorized causes. The employer may terminate the employment of an employee. You do not terminate the employee. As I said, you terminate the employment. Paragraph lang ito, but we can extract 4. Una, automation. Pangalawa, redundancy. Ano yung automation? When an employer installed a labor-saving device. Ano yon? Ang example niya, pagka sa law school, ang nagturo na ay mga AI. Di ba bayaran na lang kami ng separation pay, hindi na kami magtuturo. But then I realize, ang nagtuturo ngayon sa mga law school ay mga AI na yun, di ba? Abogadong instructor. AI din naman yun. Okay. So, pagka yan, nag-install ng labor-saving device, babayaran mo ng separation pay yung employee. Gaano kamahal? 1 month salary for every year of service. Mamaya, pag-usapan natin yung separation pay. Okay. What about redundancy? Redundancy exists when the services of the workforce is in excess. Mas marami kang employees kaysa dun sa trabahong gagawin. It becomes superfluous. Okay. Consistent yan, si Justice Lazaro Javier. Okay? Mas marami yung empleyado kaysa dun sa gagawin. Redundancy exists when the services of an employee is in excess of what is reasonably demanded by the actual requirements of the enterprise. Si employer nakakaalam yan. Management prerogative yan. So there must be superfluity. What is superfluity? Superfluity by position or positions may be the outcome of number of factors like overhiring of workers. Mas marami ang na-hire, konti lang ang trabaho. Then, decrease in the volume of business. Konti na lang yung umu-order. O kaya, i-drain up yung particular product line na ginagawa nila dapat. So yan ay superfluous ang tawag. At consistent ang Korte Suprema dyan, hindi natin kailangang ulitin. So pinapakita ko lang sa inyo, Justice Lazaro Javier ang sumulat nito, yung chairman ninyo. Okay? Ayan. So, in redundancy, there must be a written notice. So ito yung due process. Pangalawa, bayad ng separation pay. Pag-usapan natin mamaya yan. Yan yung due process requirement at saka separation pay. And good faith in abolishing the redundant position. Okay? And fair reasonable criteria in ascertaining what positions are to be declared redundant and therefore to be abolished. Oh, there must be good faith in abolishing the redundant position. Okay? Now, ano yung fair criteria? Ang fair criteria maaaring preferred status. Bakit siya ang unang tinanggal? Bakit hindi ito? Malamang, baka siya ay efficient. Yung isa, efficient. Yung mga efficient, ito yung nasa office kahit di mo pinapatawag. Okay? O kaya, efficiency. Yan na nga. At seniority among others. So, syempre, mas matagal na siya sa kumpanya, mas senior siya, ay malamang hindi mo natatanggalin kaagad yan. Kasi baka mamaya, unfair yung criteria, ang natanggal mo pala ay mga union officers, ay baka kasuhan ka dyan ng unfair labor practice. Worst case scenario, ay baka maging union busting pa yan. So take note of this. Okay? Now, what about the due process requirement? 2 written notices pa rin. Kaya lang, magkaiba yung direksyon. Yung isang notice doon sa workers, natatanggalin. Bakit? To prepare them for the impending loss of their livelihood. Pangalawa, yung second notice, doon sa Department of Labor Regional Office, kailan mo ibibigay yan? At least 1 month before the intended date of the dismissal. Why? For the department to ascertain whether or not there is a valid ground for dismissing the employee. Yan po ang requirement ng due process, sabi ni Justice Lazaro Javier. No? So, consistent ito. Okay? Now, separation pay must be paid. Justice Lazaro Javier uli yan. 1 month for every year of service. Well, it depends on the ground for the dismissal. Pag ito ay automation or redundancy, that's 1 month salary or at least 1 month salary for every year of service, whichever is higher. A fraction of at least 6 months is considered 1 whole year. Okay? So let's say for example, naka 9 months siya. Tinanggal because of redundancy. Oh, di considered 1 whole year yan dahil a fraction of 6 months. So di ba? 9 months na yan eh. So 1 month salary. On the other hand, naka 4 years siya. Tinanggal based on redundancy. So we will apply the rule that it is 1 month salary for every year of service. So naka 4 years, 4 months salary. Why is that? This is higher than 1 month salary. Ang sabi, whichever is higher, di ba? Ngayon, if the ground for dismissal is retrenchment to prevent losses. Okay? Take note, hindi kailangan ng actual losses. Kasi what losses would you be preventing if there are already actual losses? So even projected losses can be ground for dismissal. O kaya closure. Ang rule natin dyan for separation pay, that's 1 month salary or 1/2 month salary for every year of service. A fraction of at least 6 months is considered 1 whole year. Okay? Siyempre higher pa dun sa ano ha. So same example lang gamitin natin. Naka 9 months of service. That's a fraction of at least 6 months. So 1 year, 1 month salary. Naka 4 years siya using the same example. Walang kinalaman yung picture. 4 years of service, 2 months salary. Bakit? 1/2 lang for every year. Why? Nalulugi na nga eh. So kaya 50% lang. But 2 months salary still higher than 1 month salary. So we apply that 1/2 month salary for every year. Okay? Ngayon, anong purpose ng separation pay? The purpose is to help the employee to have something to spend while looking for another employment. Okay? Now, sabi ng Korte Suprema, walang separation pay if the closure of business is due to serious business losses or financial reverses. To require the company to continue to be generous when it's no longer in a position to do so would certainly be unduly oppressive, unfair, and most revolting to the conscience. In other words, pag nagsarado yung kumpanya at talagang luging-lugi na, katulad ng panahon ng COVID, pwede nang walang bayaran separation pay si employer. That's the only time when separation pay may be dispensed with. Okay? But the employer has the burden of proving there was serious business losses. The employer must show that losses on the basis of financial statement covering a sufficient period of time. Walang sinabi ang Korte Suprema gaano katagal. Nagsarado na nga. So wala na talaga totaling negosyo. Kung in good faith naman na talagang nalulugi, hindi na kailangan magbayad ng separation pay si employer. Okay? So let us try to summarize para mas mapabadali sa inyo, no? So meron kang cause, nag-observe ka ng due process, the dismissal is legal. When the dismissal is legal, there is no payment of back wages, there is no reinstatement, nothing. Now, wala siyang cause, walang due process, the dismissal is illegal. Reinstatement to the former position without loss of seniority rights plus back wages plus damages, and do not forget attorney's fees. The employer had no cause, but he observed due process, believing na merong cause. Legal pa rin yan. Now, eto na yung Agabon versus NLRC. Merong cause whether just or authorized. The only problem is the employer failed to observe due process. The dismissal may be known as ineffectual. Hindi illegal, hindi legal, but ineffectual. Paano yon? Walang due process. Due process lang. Sabi ng De Jesus versus Aquino, it must be struck down as ineffectual. Pag ineffectual, ano ang mangyayari? Walang reinstatement, walang back wages, walang attorney's fees, but the employer must pay nominal damages. Okay? How much is nominal damages? That's addressed to the sound discretion of the labor tribunal, taking into account the relevant circumstances. Kaya kung gusto niyo aralin ito, you have these two cases of Agabon versus NLRC, just cause iyon, but walang due process, 30,000 pesos ang nominal damages. In the case of Jaca versus Pacot, ito ay authorized cause, yan ay 50,000 ang damages na nominal na inaward ng Korte Suprema kasi ito ay authorized cause. Okay? Now, so yan ang distinction between 297 and 298. In 297, the employee is at fault. Walang kasalanan si employer. Therefore, walang separation pay. In Article 298, sabi ni employer, it's not you, it's me who caused the ground for the dismissal. Therefore, may separation pay. And then, what about the concept of constructive dismissal? There's constructive dismissal because the employment is rendered impossible, unreasonable, or unlikely. Like there was demotion in rank or diminution in pay. Remember, under Article 100 of the Labor Code, pinagbabawal yung diminution of benefits. Inilipat ka sa pagkalayo-layong trabaho. Would you still continue? Sabi ni Jesus Lazaro Javier, whether a reasonable person in the employee's position would have felt compelled to give up his employment or position under the circumstances. Okay? Now, in the case of Regala versus Manila Hotel, there is constructive dismissal where there is cessation of work because continued employment is rendered impossible, unreasonable, or unlikely. Di ba? So, consistent. Now, when an employee is sexually harassed by the superior and the employer did not do anything, did not act on the complaint with prompt and sensitivity, ay maaaring constructive dismissal yan. Okay? So kasi ito, hinaharas siya ng kanyang employer, ng supervisor, halos everyday, nag-file siya ng reklamo dun sa main office. Ang problema, hindi inaksyonan. So itong si Monica, nag-resign. Monica ang first name niya. Pagkatapos, nag-file ng kasong illegal dismissal. Di sabi nung kumpanya, paano ka na illegal dismissal? Nag-resign ka. We have your resignation letter. Yan ang sabi ng Korte Suprema, constructive dismissal yan. Okay? At dito, in-apply ng Korte Suprema, very first few cases ito, no? Na in-apply yung Republic Act 11313. Of course, you know that, the Safe Spaces Act. Ito daw yung expanded definition ng gender-based sexual harassment. Kasi hindi dito kailangan yung moral ascendancy. Kahit na co-worker mo, pwede mong kasuhan. At nire-require ang mga employer to investigate and resolve within 10 days or less yung mga cases of gender-based sexual harassment in the workplace. Okay? Ayan. So, pag hindi ginawa ni employer yan, abay, meron siyang mga penalties dito. Okay? At confidential dapat ito. Now, dismissal in disguise is the other term for constructive dismissal. Ayaw mo naman talagang umalis. Kaya lang, the situation is now unbearable. Hindi mo na kaya. So, ang ginawa mo, bumitaw ka na lang. Para kang si Morissette, gusto mo nang bumitaw. At nung bumitaw ka, nag-file ka pa rin ng kasong illegal dismissal. That can be considered illegal, constructive dismissal. Okay? Sabi dun sa Bartolome versus Toyota Quezon Avenue, Justice Lazaro Javier, the employer acted with disdain. Ha? Iniinsulto niya yung employee. Tinatanong niya, kailan ka ba magre-resign? O yung mga trabaho ibinigay sa iba. Yung mga kliyente niya, kasi ahente ito ng kotse, ibinigay dun sa ibang ahente. Hindi ka ba naman may insulto niyan? Diba? So yan. So there is now that compulsion to give up. Diba? But that is constructive dismissal because the condition is unreasonably harsh. Okay? Of course, there might be disagreement. As in any human relationship, there are bound to be disagreements. Kaya lang, kung talagang iniinsulto ka na, wala ka ng choice kundi bumitaw, o walang kinalaman yung picture sa insulto, wala tayong magagawa, kundi magkaso ng constructive dismissal. The same is true when the employee is demoted. Diba? Yung mga employees na pumapayag na i-demote mo ang posisyon, huwag mo lang maapektuhan yung kanyang sweldo o yung mga benefits. Okay? Now, this can also be a ground for termination of employment. Applicable provision, Article 299. Here, the employee is suffering from any disease. Okay? That the disease is prohibited by law or prejudicial to the health of the employee or the co-workers. So may separation pa yan. But take note, ito yung mga requirements, the Euferio versus Inteltech. Ano requirements? Disease. May sakit yung empleyado. Hindi naman siguro diyan kasama yung UTI, yung umibig tapos iniwan. His continued employment is prohibited by law. May ganun ba sakit? Tingnan natin. At ang material dito, there is a certification from a competent public health authority, that the disease cannot be cured despite medication within 6 months. Despite medication at may proper treatment. Okay? Ayan. So, in the case of Oman Phil versus Messina, yun din ang nire-require. Kaya nga lang dito, dalawa. Pero yun din, if you read the requirements, pareho lang. At ang material talaga yung certification from a competent public health authority that the disease cannot be cured despite medication within 6 months. Paano yung mga HIV positive? Hindi ito yung Harris vanishing, Yung HIV, Human Immunodeficiency Virus. Nag-positive siya sa medical exam. Tinanggal. According to the Supreme Court, that is not among the diseases contemplated by law. In fact, Rehab Republic Act 11166 ay pinagbabawal yung discrimination against people na merong HIV. Yung Human Immunodeficiency Virus. At nagdadala ng AIDS. Ano ba yung AIDS? Yung mga law students, marami yan. Yung Acute Income Deficiency Syndrome. Pero pag nasa law school, para pumasok ng seminary, na wala ng love life, so nagkaroon ng AIDS. Acute insecurity due to singleness. Pero pag sa law school natagpuan yung kanyang love life, may AIDS pa rin. Ako'y in love dahil sa iyo. Yan. Pwede naman kayo manligaw at magpaligaw pag nasa law school, Yan lang di talaga natin na-experience. Kasi mahigpit yung misis ko, nag-aaral ako sa law school. Walang ay pumayag. Joke lang. Okay? So, dito may separation pay din pagka tinanggal yung empleyado based on disease. Magkano yon? 1 month salary or 1/2 month salary for every year of service, whichever is higher. A fraction of at least 6 months is considered 1 whole year. So, ito yung kapareho ng separation pay for retrenchment to prevent losses o kaya closure. Na 1 month salary or 1/2 month salary for every year of service. So you look at the example. The same example. Okay, pareho doon sa closure o kaya retrenchment to prevent losses. Okay?